All worship Prabhupada. We'll continue. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurannmanitam mena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Bhashyate Deshutarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Mukam karoti vachalam pangam mangayate grim matkripa tavam bande Shri Guru Dinatarinam Hare Krishna. The devotees yesterday were discussing about changes. But before that, we started the conversation that this human form of life is so rare. It's the rarest, Durlabha Manusha Deva. It's very rare. When the human form of life is very rare, then every action which we do in this human form of life is very vital and important. For example, if I'm spending 1 hour time to comb my hair or to put dye or to see that my hair is crafting in a correct way, everything is rightly aligned. What is that? Is that beneficial? It is not beneficial actually. It doesn't give any help or it doesn't yield right results because this human form of life is meant for austerities. Austerity is a sign of an indication. For example, if you are sleepy, if you are not sleeping, then that is austerity. For example, if you really do not sleep, then it is good to sleep. But if you are oversleeping, that is not a sign of austerity. 6 hours, anything over 6 hours is should be careful. So the material nature is so strong and very powerful. I'll tell an example. I know a devotee, she's like 45 years. She left the body yesterday morning in US, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. 45 years. Now, who was expecting that? Was she expecting that she'll leave the body at so early age? No one. Nobody's expecting that people will leave at the age of 45. But things are happening. Why things are happening? Such the nature of this world. Padam padam vidvipadam natesham. At every step there is danger. Now the entire family might be lamenting, crying profusely. But can we bring the person back? Cannot bring the person back. That means if today is gone, for example, if I did not chant my rounds today, or for example, if I did not practice the process of Krishna consciousness in the way I supposed to practice, if that is not being done, then what happens, dear devotees? Please try to understand. This is very important. And today is also Vyas Puja, is known as Radhana Swami Maharaj. 75th Vyas Puja celebrations. Every temple where, Maharaj aspirants or the followers of Maharaj, his disciples, they're all celebrating the Vyasa Puja. Why? Because they want to express their gratitude to a person who has inspired them to the core of their heart. So for these kind of things, if this life is used, then that is a great thing. Not like to do hair dye or to do something else, or to put something to show up. Anything externally for this body, if you are doing, then it's a problem. So, dear devotees, the human form of life is again very rare. This human form of life should be used for the best bargain. What is the best bargain? To be Krishna conscious. So when we are Krishna conscious, when our dealings in this world are based on that, then it's a good sign. Now I was just thinking, let's say, dear devotees, if a person is leaving the body, say if a person is leaving, let's say if the person is not trained up in the process of Krishna consciousness, you know what happens? What is the I was asking this question to my wife. You know what was the question I was asking? I was asking, can you tell me the answer? If a person is about to leave or is leaving his body, he is not fully trained up in the science of Krishna consciousness. Can you tell me what he will think? Let's say there are 100 people around him and then they are all chanting Hare Krishna. But the person is not in that state. Now, my question is, it's pretty clear. My question is, what will the person go through? What is very important to the person, to that mother? And then she immediately gave the answer. She will think about her children. Quite natural. Who doesn't think about the children? Is it not natural? It's quite natural. That's if a person is leaving the body and then if he doesn't have a relationship with the Lord, especially with the acharyas, then what happens, dear devotees? Please understand this, very important. What happens to that? For example, if you are simple thing, if you do not eat vegetarian, what do you eat? Non-vegetarian, right? If you do not like to eat vegetables, what do you eat? Meat. As simple as that, right? This is not rocket science. Simple science. If vegetables are not, if you cannot perceive the vegetables, what do you perceive? You perceive the meat. For example, if a person doesn't perceive meat, what does he perceive? He perceives vegetables. Very simple, right? Likewise, dear devotees, if a person is not Krishna conscious, what does he do? Material consciousness. Now, what is material consciousness? It can be anything, anything which is in separation of the Lord. That means for a person, if a person is about to leave the body, if he is not trained up in the process, then what does he aspire for? This is what he aspires for. Because whatever he knows, that is what he wants to do. Please understand this. It's very important. If I do not get this, I get something else. For example, let's say you wrote MSET examination, entrance test. Let's say electrical engineering is top. Then after that, computer science. For example, if you do not get a seat in electrical engineering, where do you get? What do you opt for? You opt for computer science. For example, you do not get seat in computer science, what do you opt for? IT, information technology. For example, you didn't even get an engineering seat, what do? You do degree, BSc or whatever it is, BCom, BSc computers or BCom computers. That means when you do not get something, you get something else. For example, if you are not eating, if you are not a rich person, you cannot make three preparations. What do you eat? You eat some rice and some dal. That's it. You make some khichdi and then eat. But eating is for sure. You might not have opulent thing, but what you are aspiring, you get that. So likewise, dear devotees, when our health is good, when our limbs are working, our hands, our legs, our head, everything is working fine. If the focus is not kept on this, what is that? If the focus is not kept on the science of Krishna consciousness, then what happens? When the focus is not here, then what happens? The focus will be somewhere else because Atma, the spirit soul which is residing in the heart, that spirit soul is always looking for happiness. Please try to understand this. If at least we understand this, it's a great benefit for us. If we know that this soul do not do not aspire for anything else other than this, then this is a proof. This is a clear indication. The soul is, that is the nature of the soul. What is the nature of the soul? Soul do not aspire anything else other than happiness. Because soul is eternal, soul is knowledgeable, and is bliss. Sat, Chit, and Ananda. That means the soul will always hanker for happiness. That is, if you actually see, the properties of the soul is actually seen in every living entity of this world. Now you take any person in this world, they no nobody in this world goes to the school thinking that he will die tomorrow. Does anyone go to the school that thinking that he will die tomorrow? Nobody. Nobody will think that. Why? Because he is eternal. He never perceives that he will die. Because that is true. Actually, he will not die. The body will die. The soul which is there in the body, that will never die. But the superficially, the body which is there outside, that will die. Through that body, one person might be thinking that, oh, he's a woman, he's a husband, he's a wife, he's a this. Oh, some parents might be distressed. Why? Because they do not have a male child. They have only female child. See, here, dear devotees, there is every reason to be lamented. Because whatever you aspire for that, you do not get that. For example, you aspired to get a seat in IIT. You do not get it. Now, if person who got the seat in IIT, he will aspire for something else. That he might not get it. If a person is aspiring something else, he might not get that. Or a person might say that he is requesting a good wife. A wife is there, but she might not be good. That means whatever aspirations she or he has, that is not fulfilled in this life. That is why what happens in devotees, every person has some desires. You touch any person in this world, they have some desires. For example, if I raise my hand and then say, do we have any desires in this world? Everyone in this call, they say, yes, Prabhu, we have desires. Now, dear devotees, if I have desires today, don't you think that the desires will be there at the time of death? We will. Why don't we? That is the psychological nature of this human world. That is the tendency of this human world. That is the nature of this world. Anandamaya Abhyasa, because the soul is actually looking for that. You better ask every person in this world. When I was traveling back from Tampa to Pittsburgh, there's an American sitting next to me. I was talking to her. From where you are coming? From where or from where? Are you going? I said, because we are going to Pittsburgh. I said, do you live in Pittsburgh? She said, no, I live close to Pittsburgh. Between Pittsburgh and Cleveland, there is a suburb called Akron. That's where she lives. And then I asked, why did you come to Florida? Because she has very small children. One child is 12 years, 12 months old. The other child is like 5 years. Usually, small children, you what was it? Even flowing all the way from Pittsburgh to Tampa. And then she said, we only came for vacation for 6 days. Oh, where did you go? Then she said, we went to Clearwater. Then that time I started asking, what is this Clearwater? She said, this is a beach. Then I asked why they call it as Clearwater. They call it as Clearwater because everything is clear. Oh, okay. So it means you do not have any water there. I live in Pittsburgh, so there is no water there. So that like this. So I was asking, don't you have anything there? Then no, we do not have anything there. So you flew all the way from there to here for this? She said yes. Oh, why am I telling this? Yes. Is this not a desire? It is a desire. Please understand this. It's very interesting. This is actually technically a desire. Now, this desire first manifested in the consciousness. Through that manifestation, what happened is slowly, that desire fructified through discussions, through dealings. And then through that fructification, what happened? Eventually, the desire was kept into actions. That's how they flew from Pittsburgh to Tampa to see the beach. Now, if this desire intensifies further, you know what's going to happen? If this desire is prominent, whatever the prominent desire is there, that kind of body one will get. If this desire is a prominent desire, then they will get that kind of a body which is closer to that desire. Might be within that desire only. Might be they might get a body as an aquatic in clear water only. This is not. This is not. I'm just speaking out of fluke, or I'm just concocting some words. No, no. These are the words of the Lord. यम्यङ्गापि स्मरन् भावं तजन्तन्ते कलवरं तं तं एव कौन्ते तदा सदा तद्भाव भावितः. That means, my Krishna is telling Arjuna, oh Arjuna, whatever at the time of death one remembers, whatever desires he cultivates, I very mercifully I give him that kind of a body. This is a magnanimity of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He's so kind, loving Father. He doesn't allow our desires not to be fulfilled. I'll give another example. For example, there are 20 devotees in the midst, and then one person is leaving the body. Okay. Now, the person who is leaving the body, he might not fully develop the Krishna consciousness. That means he did not realize his natural identity. He did not realize the relationship which he has to establish with the Lord, especially with his spiritual master. Let's say he did not establish that. And then there are 20 devotees around him, they're chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Every devotee very enthusiastically, jubilantly chanting. And then there is a new devotee also who just came. Now he is also chanting. He is also chanting Hare Krishna. But the person who is leaving the body, what he's thinking, what he's perceiving, that is what matters. For example, if that person is thinking, oh, what's going to happen to my children? Who will take care of my husband? Who will take care of my wife? Who will take care of my young son? Who will take care of my father? Who will take care of my mother? Who will take care of my property? What's going to happen to my bank balance? If that person who's actually leaving the body is thinking these things, do you think that the person will go to the spiritual world? Are if the Lord, if the Lord, this is not a devotee. This person, this person who came to clear water, she is not a devotee. Are but if she desires at the end of her life that, oh, I wish I could have gone to clear water one more time. I will fulfill that desire. Please try to understand. The desires are very powerful. The desires are not manifested externally, but they are there in the consciousness. For example, if we desire to have sex life with a woman at the time of death, you become a woman. For example, if a person is desiring to have more wealth, more strength at the time of death, or is lamenting that his wealth is gone, Krishna will ensure that his lamentation is fulfilled. Now, that kind of a merciful father is Lord Krishna. There is no father like that who is as merciful as Lord Krishna. He is the supreme father, na? He is the father of all fathers. He is a manifestation. Bhoktaram Yajnadavasa Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Oh, nobody in the scriptures proclaimed like this, where Krishna proclaimed. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. That means all the universe he is the proprietor. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Not Ishvara, Maheshwara. That means Ishvara of the Ishvara. Maheshwara. The supreme control. That person, when he says something, it's like Aziz. The person who is the source of everyone, if he says something, then it will happen. For sure. But the same devotee who is there among the midst of all the devotees, he is not lamenting for anything of this world, but rather he is also absorbed in the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. Then that devotee will go back and back to it, back to Godhead. For sure. No doubt about it. That consciousness, if you developed today, not tomorrow, dear devotees, today we should develop. If you develop that kind of consciousness today, if you are free from all these material inebrities, dear devotees, we should be trained up in this science today, not at the time of death. Lot of people they say, oh, you know what, this person is leaving. Let us read some Bhagavatam. Let us read some Bhagavad Gita. No. अरे यार, मर जाने वक्त क्या समझ में आएगा उसको? At the time of this, what will he understand? If the person is lamenting so much, if the person is thinking about his family so much, then what can he remember about the Lord? What can he think about the Lord? He cannot think anything about the Lord. I remember one senior Vaishnava. This happened a few years back. That Vaishnava is very sincere. I took training initially when I started Krishna consciousness. Very nice, sincere devotee. Oh, that personality, he said, his wife was about to leave. The wife was very sincere, very staunch devotee. Very sincere. She went back home, back to Godhead. That devotee. And that devotee, when she was about to leave the body, he's this Vaishnava, where under him, this Mataji has been practicing Krishna consciousness. That Vaishnava said, do not ask your husband, neither your children should come in front of her. They didn't come for the last one day, they didn't come. Because never know. Even though she is practicing staunchly, never know. If she would have seen her husband at that last moment, if she has some thoughts towards him, then we don't know. That desire, that small desire, we don't know. So the children didn't come. The husband also didn't come. This is training, dear devotees. This is training in Krishna consciousness. Because that jiva is suffering since millions of lifetimes. Because if you see, dear devotees, that same husband and wife, the moment that Mataji or husband leaves his body, the husband and wife, the connection is gone. No more they are connected again. How superficially we are connected now. Thinking that she is the wife, she is the husband. Think that he is the children, he is this, he is that. But if the entire family is Krishna conscious, that's another ball game where the father will tell us, you know what, I am only biological father. Your real father is Krishna. He will teach. The father will teach the child like this. I am not the real father. Krishna is the real father. Spiritual master is your real well-wisher. He's your eternal well-wisher. Srila Prabhupada is your eternal well-wisher. He is your real father. I'm only biological father, nothing more than that. Just in this life only. Next life, I don't know whether I don't know what kind of body you will get. I don't know what kind of body I'll get. Only in this life we are connected. The father will train the children like this. When? After giving profuse love to them. Otherwise, they will not understand. See, love is different, raga is different. In raga, what happens is, in raga, whatever the child says, they accept. But in love, it's not right. It's not like that. They accept, they also correct. Very important. In America, correction is not there. Only raga is there. No love. If there is correction, there is a problem. So, when our independence is actually given to the Lord, what happens is our desires are also purified. But when the independence is not given to the Lord, desires are never purified. The desires remain as desires, the qualities remain as qualities, it will not be purified. This is a very important example to notice. If a person is leaving the body, and even though he is sitting in the midst of the devotees, even though the devotees are chanting, but if the person's consciousness is not correct, if he's not thinking in a correct way in the sense whatever acharyas are telling, the person is not thinking in that correct way, then there is no chance or scope that the person is going back to the spiritual world. Why will he go to the spiritual world? Because he doesn't desire for that. As simple as that, na? If you desire to eat vegetarian, then you'll become a vegetarian. If you have hankering to be non-vegetarian, then how can you be vegetarian? As simple as that, na? But I remember so many devotees telling me like this. It's a very beautiful thing. You know what they told? Prabhu, I was a voracious meat eater. But somehow when I started honoring Krishna Prasad, I don't know what happened. That desire to eat meat got removed completely. The desire to sin in this world removed completely. I don't know what happened. I don't know what magic is there in this Prasad. Krishna Prasad. I just started eating it. Things got changed in my life. So honoring Krishna Prasad is the most important thing. Because what it does is it changes the consciousness. Now I'll tell an example on this. One time, spiritual master goes to a disciple. One sadhu, he is a disciple, he goes to the disciple and then he stays at the home of the disciple for that night. And then as he's staying at his home, he honored prasad and the disciple fed. And then the spiritual master is sleeping. And then he got a desire to steal at his home. That desire was never there in his heart. But somehow he did not react to that desire. He went to his home. After a couple of days, he called his disciple because he was introspecting. He was thinking why this desire came. Why am I desiring like this? Because it's in the consciousness, right? And then he said, what are you doing? What's your profession? Then he said, dear Gurudev, I'm doing robbery these days because I do not have a job. I did couple of robberies, but I'm practicing Krishna consciousness, but I did robbery for a couple of times. It's no job. Then his spiritual master told him, he revealed his heart what happened to him. He said, you know what, when I came to your home and when I honored Prasad, that night I had this desire to steal. I didn't understand because that was never there in my life. So that means the consciousness with which the disciple has cooked the boga, that goes into that. See, if you offer it very purely, then it will become pure. But if it is in the mixed state, mixed devotion, if it is in the mixed state, what happens? It is not that pure. No, that is impacting the other personalities also. Then he said, immediately you stop the job and then find something else. So this is an indication. So whatever we eat, whatever we honor, whatever we do, they all do matter. They're not out of anything else. They do matter a lot. Because the more when the sadhaka aspires from this consciousness, the more we'll understand how important it is during the antakalecha. Because, for example, if a person goes in coma, dear devotees, he cannot understand what's happening externally. If a person is in coma, and in coma he leaves the body, what's the destination? We don't know. That's why it's all mercy, dear devotees. Please try to understand. Staying in the midst of the devotees, hearing Shravanam, doing Shravanam and Kirtanam, hearing from our superiors. Dear devotees, what happens is, these are all mercy. These are all mercy personified. Because I always remember every day in the morning we hear from our spiritual, from our Guru there. Every day in the morning we are able to hear from him. Such a beautiful thing actually. I always think about this. Array, if this hearing is not there, then what is the scope for us doing the manana? If the manana is not there, then what kind of consciousness it is? It's a material consciousness. That means if the consciousness is not right, if the chaitanya, if the consciousness is not right, then what do we get? All materialism? Does materialism give happiness? Doesn't give happiness. We see so many people doing so lots of materialism, materialistic activities. But are they happy? They are not happy. Then how can I be happy by doing what they are doing? So that's a clear indication that this is not giving me happiness or solace to the heart. This is kind of an inability in one's consciousness. So this consciousness is always has to be checked. Always. Not just only at the time of death I'll remember the Lord. Dear devotees, I'll tell again. It is not easy to remember the Lord at the time of death. Please understand. Please understand. Because the thing is, whoever came to that situation, they either left the body, they don't know their experience. They couldn't share their experiences because they're not there. But these things we can perceive. For example, if a person is unconscious, externally I'm calling him. He's not dead. He's unconscious only. I'm calling him, Prabhu, get up, Prabhu, get up. Are you okay? Are you okay? Were you able to remember? Were you able to remember? I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Are you able to hear? Were you able to hear? Are you remembering the Lord? Please remember the Lord. Please remember the Lord. If the person is not reciprocative, then how do I know that he's remembering the Lord or not? Because he's completely unconscious. Now, I'll tell another example. Vishwanath Radhanath Swami Maharaj's father, when he passed away, he was like 93 or so. He had he had a he had a disease in the sense some ill health. What is this ill health is he couldn't remember. I don't know. They have some technical name. We don't know that name. He couldn't remember anything, but he could only remember Hare Krishna. Whoever is chanting Hare Krishna, he could connect to that. Is dear devotees when we begin to think about this, he doesn't remember anything else, but he only remembers this. That means what he has to remember, he's remembering. What he shouldn't remember, he's not remembering. Anukulyana sankalpa, pratikulyasya varjana. Whatever is not favorable to Krishna consciousness, actually we should remove out of our consciousness. Whatever favorable to Krishna consciousness, we should meditate that. But here, this personality who gave birth to such an exalted personality, Now that person, he is only remembering Hare Krishna Mahamantra. What a mercy. The Lord personally manifested that. That means if you really want to become Krishna conscious, one thing you need to do is you need to depend on the mercy. How do we depend on the mercy? By changing our desires. As simple as that. When we depend on the mercy, then the mercy will flow. We should simply aspire for right consciousness. Nothing else, my dear Lord, my Father. I do not want anything else. I do not want Dhana, Jana, Sundari. No, nothing, none of those things. Na Dhana, na Jana, na Sundari, Kavitam va Jagadishaka. Mama Janmani Janman Pavatad Bhakti Rahito Kita. I do not want that. Please, please. I do not want that. I only want this. What I want? Loving devotional service. With the pleasure of the Lord. That only I want, my dear master. Do not want anything else of this world, because they do not give me happiness to me. No hankering for that. If we cultivate that desire to the core of the heart, then Krishna will give mercy. Because whose desire is this? This is the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Who's Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Is Krishna himself. Now who is in the heart? Srimati Radharani. That means the Lord's internal potency. And she wants all of us to pursue this state of consciousness. For example, if I am aspiring for this state of consciousness all through my life, do you think that we can remember the Lord at the time of death? Forget about it. Cannot remember. Because it's a severe pain. 10,000 scorpions when they are bitten. That kind of scorching pain we will get. Now, one time a devotee was asking, Prabhu, does devotee also will get? No, devotees will not get. But only Shuddha Bhakta will not get. No, none of others. Others will get. Whoever is in the mistral state, they will get. Only pure devotees, they will not. They are not, because they are not part of this world. They are aloof from this world. Superficial practicing will never help. Superficial devotion is not devotion. We should never aspire for that. I, by the mercy of the spiritual master, always aspire this consciousness. Oh, my dear Lord, I'm not pure. Make me pure. Why? Because I want to serve this pure personality. Because until this pure consciousness is established, I cannot serve him. Somehow something is obstructing in my consciousness. That's why I'm unable to serve him nicely. My dear Lord, please help. So that we can serve him very diligently, very carefully. Because that service is what is pleasing. I'm not hankering for liberation. I'm not hankering for any of those things. Just hankering for that service. When this is aspired, when this is taken into consideration, dear devotees, that is a perfect thing in our lives. Then that devotee will never hanker for anything else in this world. Then that devotee at the time of death, he'll be able to remember the Lord. That devotee at the time of death, he'll be able to remember the acharyas. That devotee at the time of death, he'll be able to remember the spiritual master. That devotee will be eternally grateful for everything which he has received in his life. And he'll thank Srila Prabhupada to the core of his heart. Profusely he'll cry. The devotee will actually cry at the time of death. Why? Not that he's leaving this, not that he's leaving his wife, not that he's leaving this material world, not that he's leaving so-called happiness of this world. No, he's crying because he's leaving loving association of devotees. For that he's crying. Please. Then that devotee will aspire for that association. Then that devotee will be either given association in this material world, pure association, or he'll be sent to the spiritual world. That is what the devotee is aspiring. The devotee is not aspiring for anything else. Arey, what kind of happiness we'll get in this world? Nothing. There is no happiness. Everything is futile. There's no substance in this world. Do we get happiness in sleeping? Sleep for 15 hours. You'll be happy. You'll be drowsy. You see so many people on 31st. They sleep, they drink until one in the night, and then they sleep like 3. after having some illicit relationships. They sleep like 3 in the morning and then they get up like 9. How are they? Are they happy? Are they jubilant? No, they're distressed. No one is happy here. People are cheating themselves, stating that they are happy in this world. This world is cheating and to be cheated. Nothing more than that. In that world, there's no happiness. The real happiness is this. Just chant this one thing. Just do it for the pleasure of the acharyas. Your life will be transformed. And today is that kind of a day where His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj appeared today. Today is 75th appearance day. It's a great personality. He gave his life for the mission of Srila Prabhupada. It's very selfless soul. Doesn't have anything else other than to please Srila Prabhupada in his life. There's no external things, no connection of this world. He's there in this material world, but he's not connected to this material world. He's there only to give Krishna consciousness. He told us on the second, on the day of initiation. Every time on the day of initiation, he tells this. For every initiation, he tells this. You know what he tells? Become sincere, become serious, be honest, practice the science of Krishna consciousness. He says, chant Hare Krishna 16 rounds every day. He says, no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. Just completely wipe off these things in your life. Simply chant Hare Krishna. Take the association nicely and then move forward in Krishna consciousness. This is what he tells. Before his 75th appearance, a few devotees went to him, started asking him, oh Maharaji, Maharaji, can you please tell us what are the instructions we want to give? Then he immediately said, it doesn't matter if it is 25th year, 50th year, 25th year, or, or any other year. I'll always tell this thing. You be honest and sincere with your dealings. Chant Hare Krishna. Do Shravana and Kirtana. Very nicely. Take good association. Take sincere association. And move forward in Krishna consciousness. This is what we need to do. But for this to happen, a deeper consciousness has to be established. I was just thinking about the Mataji who left. Did she carry any money? Did devotees with her? No. The devotees, there's so many people like this leaving the body every day. Not knowing that the relationship with them is eternally removed. The family relationships. I tell my mother's younger sister, my aunt, her husband died. She doesn't have any children. I tell her, this is a blessing of the Lord on you. You do not have any external things. Your focus should be Krishna consciousness. Don't spend time unnecessarily on watching YouTube, this, that, so many other things. Just simply concentrate. Just practice Krishna consciousness. This is what we should do. If you have some responsibilities, fulfill that responsibilities. Because Krishna gave you that responsibility. But for her, Krishna didn't give that responsibility. So Rama, Krishna didn't give that responsibility. You just practice Krishna consciousness. And finish the business in this life. Why you want to come back again into this material world? Dear devotees, is it easy to come back again into this material world? It's not easy. It's very difficult place. The children, when they are very young, they cannot tell what they really want. The mother has to understand. She will understand because Krishna will give her that intelligence. But can she really tell? She cannot tell. We don't know. She's unable to express. We don't want to go through that kind of situations again. We don't want to sit in another mother's room for 9 months. Don't want to aspire for that. But if we developed any desire of this world, which is connected to this world, again we have to come. For example, you have a big home, and you went to your friend's home. Your home is a town home. You went to your friend's home. That is a single family home. Now you begin aspiring, you begin telling your husband, you know what, we should also buy a single family. So desire. You can live in a town home very nicely. But no, desire. What is a desire? A material desire. What happens? The husband has to work like an ass to fulfill that. 30 years he has to work. Very sad. That's still small desire. Just she took that association and then she started telling, no, yes, we should purchase that single family. Now this husband wife, they don't stay together forever. But they think that they are there forever. They think that they are there for एक दूजे के लिए. Hare Krishna. What is this? But when both practice Krishna consciousness, then they will understand what is good, what they will do that, what is not good, they will just ignore it. That means Anukulena Sankalpa Pratikulesa Varjana will be established. This we should understand. We should take this more to the heart, sincerely. Otherwise, this life will become, useless endeavor. It will not give any time, any good result. Please try to think about this more and more. Become serious. Always see that what desires we need to cultivate. Because these desires only will manifest at the time of death. Because whatever you are thinking, that is what will manifest at the time of death. For example, you remember yesterday we were discussing about this. If your husband or wife, both are there, but the husband is thinking of something else and the wife is speaking to the husband, or vice versa. But he's not actually thinking, he's thinking something else, his consciousness is somewhere else. Then he cannot perceive what the other person is telling. Likewise, at the time of death, if a person is lamenting profusely, what's going to happen, kya hoga, that is a quite natural thing. Every person will do that. I've seen so many people in this world leaving the bodies. I've seen people leaving the bodies. You know what they will tell? I remember my grandmother, she was telling, if I see your marriage, then that's it. Don't want to see anything else. I mean, I'm the last child in the family. It was a joint family. I'm the last. That means she wants to see everything. No, she didn't see that. That means what is that? That's a desire. Now to fulfill that, what happens? Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam. Jatare sayanam. Pado dukkare pahi samsare. Bhajo Govindam is not there. That means if the person is actually not concentrating on what he has to concentrate, if the concentration is somewhere else, if the concentration is deviated, then no matter how many people are sitting amongst us, that will not help that person. So the person is lamenting profusely because his desires are something else. This small difference will actually keep him away from the spiritual plane. The spiritual plane is here already, devotees. Don't think that spiritual plane is there in the material, is there only in the spiritual world. No, it's there here also. But that spiritual plane is pursued through our desires. Now, there's a discussion. I was planning to tell about the discussion, but there's no time. What is the discussion is? We'll discuss about this tomorrow. Is it Krishna's will? Is it always Krishna's will? Is it always Krishna's will only? Jiva doesn't have anything else? What is the discussion? When you think about that. I was talking to a devotee. A devotee was telling, it is due to Krishna's will, this happened. Then there's a point to discuss. Is it always Krishna's will? If it is always Krishna's will, then why are we here? It is not Krishna's will. So think about it. We'll continue that tomorrow. Anyone has any questions to add, to share? Today's discussion is very important, dear devotees. If we understand this nicely to the core of not just in the class, after the class.
Hare Krishna
Then
Prabhuji.
things after the class, then that is a real thing which we need to ask.
Hare,
Yes,
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
yes, now
Yes,
Chanakya.
Prabhuji, today class, it's completely, I understand like how desires will affect our consciousness and how the desires comes from the consciousness. So in this duality of materialistic world, we need to consider Lord Krishna as our father. Or if we before, like at the end of life, if we have desires other than the Krishna consciousness, uh, definitely what parents will give to their child in similar way, whatever the desires that we have at the end of life, Krishna will keep those as consideration, and he will provide that life as a next life. He will make us to feel like the same. So to be always to be in Krishna consciousness, it is not easy such a thing. So the people might think we can why can't we remember the Krishna at the end of life before leaving our this life. But it is too much difficult, we cannot remember like that. If we practice the Krishna consciousness from the day one, like from now, we need to feel like this is our last day, this is our last minute. So then only we can build this Krishna consciousness as strong as we can. Sometimes even though if we are like that, these materialistic things or desires will definitely, I don't know, like the devotees who are practicing this Krishna consciousness from past few years or from like a decade or from past year, they may not disturb with this desires or materialistic things. But the devotees who are starting or who are like beginning of this Krishna consciousness, they do have a lot of deviations and they do have a lot of desires. So how can we control these things? Would you like to provide some tips in our next class, like suggestions
Definitely,
in?
definitely. The desires can be the desires can be changed through the science of Krishna consciousness, and then we'll discuss on that.
Yeah,
Not I cannot tell you that, but
yeah,
we'll discuss in the next class about it.
sure, Prabhu.
So it's very important.
Yeah, how can we control those desires and how can we build this consciousness? We are getting, but somewhere when we are starting stage of this right path, when we are entering this path, we do have a lot of materialistic desires are disturbing this Krishna consciousness. So if we would not to deviate from this Krishna consciousness, please, please, please provide some suggestions for me, all the devotees.
Definitely. Thank you, Novachan.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, we'll discuss about this. Yes, Mataji, please tell.
Prabhuji Hare Krishna Danvat Pranam. Prabhuji, thank you so much for the very insightful class. Actually, when I came to Krishna Conscious very beginning, maybe in a month, I heard His Grace Yugal Kishore Prabhu's class and he was telling about Ayuru Harati, that shloka, and it's very scary. Then I thought, oh my god, this shloka is very depressing. They're saying with one sunrise and one sunset. It was very scary. I was 23 maybe at that time. But when I fell sick at the age of 30, 31, it made total sense. And today's class is like, yesterday also I was hearing about Ajamila. Some like I was hearing another class where they said Ajamila got a second chance. That is a mercy, but that itself is not mercy. He has to utilize that second chance. Then then Krishna's real mercy will come. So then I was just correlating with me, like how Krishna gave me a second chance, and then I was just thinking if I'm using it properly or not. And today your class was even like more eye opener. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. And one small one last thing, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, is the Mataji in Pittsburgh? Is her name Aruna?
Yes.
Is it Prabhuji?
Yes, yes, Mataji.
Oh, okay, okay, Prabhuji. Thank you so much.
Very Thank you. Thank you for joining today. Nice seeing you. Hare Krishna. So we'll stop the session here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai. Hare Krishna. If I caused any inconvenience through my words, please excuse me. Shila's Prabhu, please take out the call.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for giving us this wonderful message every day so that we can purify our desires. Very nice topic. We need to hear every day. Thank you. Today,